Were you doing on-camera work
I've
today?
been zooming and doing press for the film all day, so I really don't look like this very often. And in fact, really don't ever look like this. But I have people here making me look this way.
That's a nice room. Is that a hotel room?
It's a hotel room. And, you know, I would have done it all at home, but it started incredibly early and I have children and a husband and it wouldn't have worked. So they got a hotel room. I'm actually looking. How can I show you this? There's an opera house.
The opera house? Oh, look at that.
Very close. This room is on the second floor and you feel very close to the water and you feel like you can touch the opera house, which, I mean, I live here. I grew up in Sydney. I still love that building. It is an unbelievable architectural feat.
Nothing looks like that thing. That's the only thing that looks like that.
Sailboats, maybe.
I've been to Sydney a long time ago. I was there. I think it was probably 2006.
Yeah, that is long ago now.
I was a sad man. There was a sad comedy club over in some sad area that was some sort of failed fair area. There was like a movie theater, and it was like some area that was used to be like, was it for some bigger event, and it just sort of never happened or something. I know there was a movie theater, there was this comedy club, and it looked like a World's Fair almost like area that.
Oh, was it next to Fox Studios?
Yeah. What is that?
It's called something like really interesting, like the Entertainment District.
Right. Right.
So you had a great time, it sounds like.
Well, the guy who owned the comedy club took me to the zoo. That was okay. And I went to Bondi Beach with Luke Davies. Do you know Luke Davies?
I know Luke. Yes, I do.
Yeah. He saved me.
Oh, he often, I do know, he loves North Bondi and often rents some place that a friend of his owns that looks straight out to the ocean at Ben Buckler. Did you stay with him there? Or
I didn't stay with him. I just visited him. We hung out, and then I went to that place where you can swim in that pool that I think is ocean water. It's right there on the beach.
There's the icebergs at Bondi.
Yeah.
There's also one at Maroubra. There's one at Coogee. There are two in Coogee called Wiley's Baths, which are pretty great.
It was great.
You sneak in. I used to be able to sneak into them at night. It was so lovely.
Is that what you did when you were a teenager?
I did a bit of that, yeah. I remember experiencing phosphorescence for the first time. And I remember standing on the rocks at the beach at Bronte with a couple of girlfriends, and we'd been swimming, and I stood on the rocks and did like a fake tap dance, and all these sparks were coming off my feet.
Oh, wow.
It was so beautiful.
What causes that? What is that?
It's a chemical reaction in the water. I don't actually quite understand myself, but it lights up. It looks like fireflies.
Oh, wow.
So when you splash in the water, have you never seen it?
No,
it's magical.
Not in person. Does it only happen in Australia?
No, I saw it once. Oh, that was Australia too. Sorry, maybe. No, it doesn't just happen in Australia. I would assume not.
It sounds like an Australian thing. I think
it happens everywhere, but it's rare. Yeah. Something has to be lined up for it to happen. It doesn't just happen all the time.
So what's going on there? Are you how bad? Is life? It's terrible, or is it? What's the lockdown situation? I talked to Sarah Snook in Melbourne. I think they're under martial law there.
Melbourne is really suffering. I'm in Sydney, as you know, you just went to the Opera House, and it's very different here. I mean, I was shooting in Toronto, and actually I wasn't shooting, I was in prep and I didn't even get to shoot. And then I was there for 2 weeks, flew home in the middle of March. And I was on the flight where they announced you had to self-isolate for 2 weeks if you were flying into the country. So I did that with my family, and then it went into lockdown, and everyone was in lockdown for a couple of months. Different states have had their own rules. And it was weird when it ended because it was like it never happened. People just went back to
stupid
sweating in gyms next to each other and going out for dinner and hugging and kissing and touching. Anyway, the shit hit the fan in Melbourne, and it's a big relapse. It was mishandled, misjudged, and it's very sad.
What's going on there?
Sydney, masks are optional. You can go and eat. You can wander around.
Masks are optional?
Yeah.
Do you have who's in charge there?
Nobody. There's no rule. It's not mandatory. So you just kind of choose whether you want to die or not, basically. Do I wear a mask to the shopping centre and share the air with everyone or not?
You have an idiot in charge of the country as well, or no?
Just ineffective, not as much as a moron perhaps, but just really ineffective, not as damaging.
Oh.
very beige.
So when did you go back there? Didn't you live out here for a while?
Yes, and I used to drive around listening to you, and it was so much fun, and I can't believe I'm talking to you. This is such a trip. I lived in LA for 4 years, and we moved home at the end of 2018.
Now, okay, so let's track it, because like I'm trying to like I feel like I've seen you in a lot of movies, but you've done a lot more movies than I've seen, and it seems like you do like 9 movies a year.
I think the top has been 5, which is slightly absurd. But, some jobs are only 2 weeks they vary.
I get it.
And I wouldn't do it if I was going to cause myself some kind of nervous breakdown. I actually love what I do, but I also love being a mother, so I balance it out.
Well, how new is that? How old's your oldest kid?
12.
Oh, so it's been 12 years of that.
Yep.
But maybe we start with this movie, because I did just watch this movie.
How did you go with it?
He frustrates me. You don't, but Kaufman does. Because it's like, he tries to get everything in, like literally everything in. It feels to me that he's so smart, he's so self-aware, he has intellectual capacity to challenge himself and you and question everything, and he seems to find a need to put that, when he directs a movie and writes it, it needs to be loaded up with everything that fucking guy knows and everything he thinks about. So, given that, a lot of times within 10 minutes, I'm like, no, fuck this guy. I mean, what, fuck him. So, but that's my problem with him.
I'd say that's a success. What a great reaction.
Yeah. No, I guarantee that has to be what he's looking for, because
he does not want to predetermine or ever manipulate the audience. I think he puts so many ideas into this film and others, but specifically this, and it's very changeable, and the ground keeps moving and it keeps challenging you. But it's also very sensitive. Like, it's complex, but it's sensitive, There's a real tenderness to it. And I think he does have love for humanity. But I think depending on your experience, where you're at, you'll hook in on different levels, right? So
I'm being argumentative. I love the guy. I've talked to the guy. I think he's a genius. If you were great in it,
me to kind of suddenly find out how I really felt about Charlie Kaufman. I think he's a genius, and I think there's nobody like him. And originality is everything that's lacking in our industry, and it's so exciting to work with a mind like that.
Yes, I agree with that. The thing about geniuses and singular talents is that, they run the risk of being annoying. And I
don't agree. I find it incredibly inspirational and exciting.
Yes.
And working with him is definitely that as well. But I've been a fan of his for so long. I love everything he's worked on. I really do. I think I'm craving to have a conversation,
about the film, because there is stuff in it that I really this is my reaction to somebody who's sort of blown me away. I think it held together, better than Synecdoche, New York, which I really had a hard time with. But I think he was dealing with a lot of the same kind of things that he likes to deal with. Mm-hmm. But this one, to me, it did feel like a movie. It felt like 3 or 4 movies. And I do like the things that I like the best about it, oddly, where I loved your performance. I like Jesse Plemons a lot. I liked everyone's.
You're probably just saying that to me because you're talking to me.
No. I liked all the performances, quite honestly. But the other parts that I like when the water fountain came on, when they were dancing, and dance sequence amazing. Yeah.
Isn't the dance sequence amazing?
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
And I loved one of my favorite parts was the musical at the end, which I don't mean to spoil anything, but I think it's and I really want to see Woman on the Under the Influence again. Yeah, I walk away from that movie I want to see Gina Rollins do. I want to. Yeah. But when you get presented a script like that, how do you even read that, and how do you process it? Did you get a whole script?
Yeah, I did. I was told that Charlie wanted to talk to me about a project that he had. I was sent this script. I read it. I was blown away. I mean, it's so rich and so textural and complex, and I love it when things are ambiguous. You can read different ideas into it.
Yeah.
And then when I spoke to him, we kind of clarified it a bit. Weirdly, it's kind of strange that it's coming out now, because ultimately it's about this lonely guy who's disconnected and just living with memory and sadness and guilt and regret and hope and longing and loss and all of those things that we feel at different moments, but that comes thick and fast during the course of the film, and it's coming thick and fast in reality now. So I find that timing really kind of incredible.
You mean the bleakness?
The deep feeling of it all.
Mm. So that's what the movie's about? It's about a guy who's lonely and reflecting?
I think. Did you watch the whole film, or are you
Yes.
telling me you turned it off? Okay, just checking.
I watched it all. So you're telling me it's all that?
It's about several different things, and in actual fact, I can't talk about what the real construct of it is, which you realize at the end of the movie, because it would give it away.
I know,
so
but
everyone talks about the narrative of this boy bringing his relatively new girlfriend home to meet his parents, and how strange and awkward and tense it is, and how things keep flashing and changing, and how everything is not as it seems. But that's like the simple version of the movie.
But you read that script and said, "Oh, it's about the guy in the truck."
I can't remember what I initially thought, but I do remember having an idea about it, which was close but no cigar, and Charlie had to explain it.
And Charlie told you it was about the guy in the truck?
I can't talk about it in this way, Marc Maron.
Yeah, but
just give too much away.
Give too much away. No one knows what I'm talking about. And even if they see the movie, they're not going to know what I'm talking about until the last bit.
So naughty right now.
All right. It doesn't like, I think, because I look, the conversation I'm having with you, although, I sound like I'm being weirdly argumentative, I had to sit with Paul Thomas Anderson and make him explain certain movies of his to me because I was mad at him. So,
okay.
Yeah, maybe you're not the one to be talking about this with, but like for me, because when somebody presents like Kaufman presents, I'm going to think I have to understand all elements of this and what he's trying to do. And I know that ultimately it's a much simpler undertaking than what I'm seeing it as, because he has this idea in his head, but it's all grounded somewhere, but I don't necessarily see that.
You're coming into this totally abstract,
right,
free-falling situation. I understand.
But with you,
I haven't read the novel, by the way. It's based on a novel.
Oh, you did?
I had not read.
Oh.
So I didn't read it. So I'm really, and in fact, I don't do that with anything. I just like to deal with the screenplay, because there are often things that they are intentionally left out or that are enhanced. So I just try to deal with the material I'm working with and not muddy it up, because then I am confused where things are coming from.
Well, how do you approach a movie like this as this seasoned actress who's done 900 movies, and you have to enter this world that, does he simplify it for you that you are just this person who is this in this situation, or do you see it as some sort of experiment?
You can't think of the enormity of it. You can't play the context of it, right? So we are literally just playing each moment, which is what you have to do in any film, playing any character. So I play a woman who is a mother to this boy whom she has smothered, and who has no individual sense of himself because it's so entangled with his parents. And he brings this woman home, and I am trying to welcome her and trying to present some kind of normalcy, but it's so painful to share my son with her that she just is contorting inside. She's crying and smiling and trying, and it's just all pain.
The crying and smiling thing is very...
It's fun to do.
Yeah. Would you call it a... There is sort of a kind of slightly gothic feel to it. There's a bit of a horror feel to it.
Yes, I don't even think of things in terms of genre anymore. I know people say genre for horror itself, but I'm talking any genre. I don't think about that. I always just think about the truth of the moment.
Yeah.
That's all I have control over.
Right.
And sometimes I don't have any control over that. And that's the best, those are the best moments, actually.
When you have no control over the truth of the moment.
Oh. Yep.
But you are in it. You are
so exciting. Yeah. You just have to let go. It's so great. It's like a metaphor for life.
Yeah. Did that happen on that movie a lot?
Because of the shared stream of consciousness, it seems like we're having a conversation, but it's almost like it's all coming from one mind.
Yeah.
specifically that dinner scene and then moving into the living room, that whole sequence in the farmhouse. We all really had to rely on each other in order to kind of feel safe in it, because it was so long and we had one rehearsal to kind of figure out a slight structure